We are back, Cantina Chronicles. We've got the Rev Nog in hand. We've got Tales of the Light and Life in the other hand. It's very exciting times, guys. We are now going back to the High Republic.
Yeah,
Tales of Light and Life.
Kicking off our month-long dive into the High Republic.
Yeah. I'm so excited to be here, man. I mean, this is
too.
This is going to be the ending. This is the climactic conclusion of, like, how long has this been going? 2 years? A year and a half?
Yeah. 4 years? I don't know. Time has
Phase 3.
But like it's been I think like 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I just can't wait to see this thing wrap up and like where it's going to go. They're in a tough spot, and I want to know where our Jedi are going to land. Like all these heroes that I adore. And this book was just a great way. They let like all the current authors kind of do a story, a little short story about like their sort of corner of the galaxy a little bit. And with like, I feel like it's the characters, maybe, I know they all were created together, but it's like, there's a little like certain people own certain characters. And I love that. And they all got to riff on their people and sort of take us from phase 1 to phase 3. And gosh, it was so much fun. And it was just like, it was such a great teaser back to get you back in and be like, remember all these characters you loved? Like they're around and it's on, like Voltron, let's go.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like I was kind of I am still super excited to go into phase 3. And so much so that I was just like, do we have to read this? Maybe let's just skip this and get to phase 3 and we'll read this on our own. Like I've been so wanting to get into phase 3, and I am so glad that we took a step back and read this, because now I'm even more excited for phase 3. And I also feel like I'm prepped again. Like this, just reading all these, I'm like, okay, now everything's fresh in my mind of who's who, like, you know, where people are in terms of like what their motivations are, who their masters are. I feel like this helped so much for me to start.
It really is like a perfect onboarding and sort of framing of all the conflicts thus far, which is, I think, Ram Jammeron in the Daniel Jose Alder story. I think he, at one point, is just like, all the people we lost during the Great Disaster, and then everyone who died at the fair on Delna, like, and then the destruction of Starlight Beacon. Like the characters in their internal thoughts do a great job of sort of catching you up to what happened so far. So that was awesome. It's like just a great sort of jumpstart to diving into the next book and the next few books. So very cool.
Very, very cool, man. We've been sort of hunting and pecking here, but I think there's so few stories here. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 stories. I think we should go through them in chronological order. Yeah. They were released to us and kind of go through this thing in chronological order. One thing,
fine.
Yeah.
That sounds okay, I guess.
No, that's the best way. But I want to talk about something in particular. But we'll get there when we get to like the 8th story, the 7th story.
I mean, we can go greatest hits.
No. I think, Ben, I think you're doing. I'm being a baby. I think what you are proposing makes the absolute most sense. And it's fine.
I know what you want, Adam. I know we'll get there, buddy. Don't worry.
We
about
all
it.
know.
Yeah. That's rad. Also, a little point of order here at the bar, since it's just us and the bartenders, and apparently no music playing and whatever.
We've got the green.
Yeah. Should we introduce ourselves? I feel like, we assume everyone knows who we are, but I've noticed in professional things, people say who they are. And I guess unless they're superstars, like I'm Ben, and then Adam would say I'm Adam. No?
I'm Adam.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you guys want to.
That's great. I don't know. Just something to stick in your cap and think about later.
Well, that is true. Now that you say that, all of the other podcasts I listen to that are at least somewhat professional does that.
Yeah, I mean, the Dollop, I'm a big fan of those guys. And
Grant, Adam, and Ben isn't iconic at this point.
Right? But like who's who, I think.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a, chronic leader of the show, or if you work with two of us like Jason does, you've got a pretty good handle on it. But, I don't know. For new listeners, it's just like, who are these clowns? And we just start talking about Star Wars. I don't know. It was an idea.
You have a good point. You have a strong
I think
point.
that makes sense.
Okay. We should find some fun bar way to do this, but I don't know. Maybe we could go around the horn. We'll do Grant, Adam, Ben. Say what your name is and what you're drinking tonight.
I am Grant, drinking some Carillion Ale. Massive Star Wars fan. Have been a Star Wars fan my entire life. I enjoy the High Republic more than most of the Star Wars stories we've gotten of recent. So I'm just super excited to get into that. Work in TV and film. Have a degree in screenwriting. I love filmmaking as a whole. I come at this from a sort of filmmaking angle. Whenever we talk about stories and we talk about comics and novels and things like that. So I think I love talking about sort of the cinema and talking about the saga films and talking about the new Disney Plus shows and sort of some of the new techniques and sort of the volume, stagecraft, all that sort of stuff. I love just cinematography, and that's sort of what I hone in on when we talk about Star Wars. So and I try to do that here with High Republic too. I try to really talk about the ambience and the sort of world building and what they're doing with the visuals and sort of like that. That's what I get excited about. So that's where I come from. Director, technical director, producer, writer.
Cool. I was thinking more just like name to the voice, but I love the little bio there. I think that's great.
Yeah. I was trying to do like a little Twitter bio there.
Hi.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's great. Let's do that. Adam?
Also, I think you mean X bio. So I'm Adam. This is Adam. I'm drinking. Are we doing in universe? Like, I'm drinking in universe. I would call this a Coruscant.
Oh yeah, right. It would be a Coruscant.
Double Coruscant. For those who don't know, a double Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's a great retitling.
A little bit about you, Adam. I kind of like.
Oh, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. I have zero connection to the film world whatsoever, other than a longtime viewer of movies and pop culture. I am professionally a professor of sociology and criminal justice. So not relevant, though. Ever so often, I will find a way to shove it into the conversation we're having.
It's oddly prescient a lot of times. Like it really helps.
Yeah.
There's so much crime involved in these books. It's nice to get your angle there.
Yeah, and a lot of like social issues and talking about how people interact and function. So that's who I am, and I just love talking about all of it. We've talked off air. I really tend to fall into the creative realist side of things, meaning like. I mean, like, I'll just be like, that's creative. However, I think in reality, this is what's going to happen, which is fun. All right. That's enough about me. Ben, you take it.
Nice. My name's Ben. I actually think I'm the one that makes these dumb videos on our TikTok and Instagram and all that.
He means awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. They're amazing, dude. And like, this is the team here. We have really no other people behind the scenes. It's really Ben, and then I guess I'll write the show notes. Adam will write the show notes, and that's about it. Really, and Adam posts.
Thank you. Thank you, Grant. I post.
Yeah.
Posting is posting, though. That's
man.
Which means if you ever, if something's ever late or you can't find it, you can yell at me.
There's 3 links in the chain there.
Yeah. Now we know where the hate mail is all going to go. Yeah. Mel Bagano section is going to be overwhelming next time we get into
Mel Bagano.
Literally the best segment title. Anyways, Ben.
No, that's fine. I forgot where I was. I'm Ben. I have a bartending background. I did that for a minute when I went back to school, and so I like cocktails. I like craft cocktails. I celebrate an alcohol for every different season. Totally not an alcoholic because I'm not a quitter. This is. I actually think I named this one. At one point, but it's a white Negroni. It is mezcal, Lillet, and a vermouth called Bitter Bianco in equal parts, and it is lovely. It is lovely. But I am an audio engineer, full-time by trade. That means recording audio for film and podcasts. And Grant and I work together at a large business school in America. Prestigious business school.
Large, prestigious East Coast.
Ivy League school in the Boston area.
You might know where the cars park if you want to practice a really bad Boston accent. Never mind, moving on.
Yeah, that's one of my clients, but I'm actually Grant and I are both freelance in the industry. But yeah, that's what I do. I'm also a musician. I have my own project under River Ghost. Just released an album under the name Feed Us.
So good. Great follow.
Absolutely. Out.
Banger
Awesome.
follow.
Definitely. And I'm in I'm a bass player, and I'm in a shoegaze
Dude,
band.
I'm getting 20 new friend requests right now during these introductions.
Are you serious?
So am I, which is weird because I'm not on social media.
We haven't even finished.
Yeah.
We haven't even
Anyways,
finished.
that's sort of it. And I'm the one that is mucking my way through trying to stream this thing. So yeah, and sort of program the show. And I do like sound design for our stuff and our podcast. And yeah, and that's it.
Which I guess is actually also worth mentioning because I think sometimes we forget that we have people probably only finding us through audio, but we do stream all of our episodes. We stream them live. So if you want to see what these three beautiful, not pale white men, bearded. Oh no, not bearded.
Yeah, not today. Yeah,
two of us are
coming to a full projector near you.
Yeah. But
actually, that's a good promo. So yeah, if you follow you can look up Cantina Chronicles on YouTube, and if you subscribe, you will get a little push notification when we're doing it. It's sometime between Thursday and Sunday. Sorry, there's no regularity there, but we're all hardworking.
But almost always at 8:30.
Yeah, almost always.
We're pretty consistent with that
each week.
My child makes sure of that.
Who's to say?
Yeah, it'll come out Sunday night, but it'll be recorded who knows when.
Who knows?
All right.
Also, as a side note, I don't know where that. As a side note, a
note of the side.
A side of the note. I'm so glad that you did this tonight because most nights for the past 10 recordings, I've been having my classy whiskey and cherry Coke Zero. So I would have been very embarrassed. So now I can actually be like, look, I'm drinking a real drink.
I hear that plays very well in the Western regions. Actually, a lot of them.
It's very good, especially if you add some orange bitters.
There you go.
Little pro tip.
No, that sounds amazing. I'm in. All right. Sorry for that side note. Now that we're here, did you see this little another quip from Bob Iger about?
Oh, I've been reading.
No. What is the newest Bond villain have to say?
Well, so Grant, maybe you heard something different, but
he said there weren't enough executives on the Marvels.
Oh,
and makes me think they're almost the minting of new executives is his plan at this point to basically put as many executives on projects as possible.
Sounds awful.
to what end?
To sort of nurture or refresh the creativity of I forget what the verbiage was. That sounds like to keep
people on budget.
Exactly, but it was almost like
that
wanted to fix the creativity of Disney and Disney Studios.
Okay, so pay Charles Soule or Claudia Gray Marvel to hang out on set all day. There you go. They'd be great executives.
We'll have that conversation at the end. I think we'll be like, are these authors the truth, and do they understand Star Wars better than anyone else? Yes.
Yeah. The quote I read that was pulled from that was he was like, not every story needs to have this deep meaning and educational aspect for life, which is a funny thing coming.
What? That's not a quote.
I know I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it was. He was just I don't think I think he's trying to tamp down the virtue signaling a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So here's.
I don't know. I think we can.
Sorry. Did I just put you all in a bad mood?
I almost
progressive.
I almost swore real bad because that's a jackass reacting to a vocal minority on the internet. The whole go woke, go broke, which is BS.
Could be.
Is that a thing? Wow. You guys keep telling me about things that are dark web and the hateful people of the internet, and I'm just I just steer clear. It's very.
I get it. Luckily, I get it filtered. I get it filtered.
Steer clear.
I get it filtered through other things that I read, so it's not like I'm reading it direct, so I can't get angry. Does that make sense? So I'm like, I'm not reacting to individual comments. I just know it's an underbelly of it. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, no, I think a lot of other things could explain. Like, I don't know, Disney Plus. Maybe it's because you decided not to put anything in the theater and decided to then release everything on video and also do a ton of shows, and people do not understand what the worth of going to a theater anymore is. Oh, and maybe it's a little bit of superhero fatigue, but no, it's because there's. Oh, I almost feel real bad again. No, maybe it's because there's women in it. That's the problem. Yeah. Oh, good. He's a fucking moron.
All right. Well, good.
Wait, Bob Iger is coming next week. Whoa. We can't be talking about this.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
Sorry, guys.
No. It's all good. He'll
ever so often.
Wait, he's calling. 1 second.
He's calling. Right. B dog?
Yeah. I have bad news, guys. Not coming.
Yeah, not coming.
Oh, no. He was our guest.
That was it. Yeah.
First guest.
He was our guest after the break.
Oh.
No, yeah.
All right, sorry. Someone else talk.
On stuff, and that worried me because I feel like I don't know what happened with Andor, but I feel like that to me was whatever formula they were working with there. That was just felt so tour. I loved it.
No, things have been good. I mean, I thought about Boba Fett a little bit, and I was like, right?
Maybe that one. Was like,
It's
like playing with action figures in his backyard. We're like, you want to make a Boba Fett? And he was like, I do. And then it's just like, I really don't understand.
How do you like local politics? No, listen.
The other thing that he said recently, which is someone on board for, is it's going to be going forward. It's about quality, not quantity.
Yeah, we'll see.
Which is I'm okay with that. I'm okay with less Marvel movies a year. I'm okay with that's just Marvel. I'm not okay with less Star Wars. Yeah, and I love Marvel, but maybe a little bit less. Maybe make me want
I think what's going to happen is there's gonna be a lull anyways because of the strikes that happened. And then what happens after that may be sort of how it goes. Star Wars is that lull might not happen for Star Wars for another 6 months, 8 months, something like that, because they do have a bunch of shows in the hopper.
But it's already kind of happening, right? Because the word on the street is that Skeleton Crew is supposed to debut January, and then the strikes happened, and you're like, oh no, they pulled that right from like the pre-schedule schedule. So like the new word is that like Andor season 2 is late 2024. Like we're probably looking at this time next year. So you're probably going to get Skeleton Crew summer. Yeah, and so
Bad Batch 3?
I mean, part of me is like Bad Batch 3 at some point during this year. I think again late 2024 is what they're saying. But part of me is like, again, I always want more Star Wars, but at the same time, man, when Star Wars comes back to the big screen, that might be exactly what they need, right? Like people are going to be maybe missing Star Wars from the big screen when it's 2025, 2026 probably. Yeah.
That's why the Rey movie could be huge. Like if you just continue. Yeah, because I think we made the point last week, like what if they just, instead of George making the prequels, he sort of continued the story, but maybe earlier, like late 80s, just continue with Luke, basically. Like it's almost like I would love to just continue with Rey. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll get into it. And it's like not everything needs to quote unquote rhyme. It's like let's cover a little bit of new territory. Like
let's try a new ethos and a new design, process. I think that would be fun.
I'm excited to hang out with a Jedi at the peak of their powers for a change.
Let's go hang out with the most wizard Jedi of all time in the High Republic.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Shall we?
Yes,
we
go?
Yeah.
Do it.
All right, so we're starting right off with Queen's Bloom, Zoraida Cordova. I guess we're gonna have to pump the brakes on the Jedi for a second, because this is an Axel Greylark story.
Right.
Yeah. This is like his university days and his basically getting betrayed by like his college girlfriend.
Yeah, it's like
it's kind of a fun story. I was like, this is great. Rena University, kind of new university to add to the list, like Barleth and the other ones that we've read about in comics. And it's very cool.
I mean, Axel is a galactic Nepo baby, but this is his sort of origin story. And I feel like he got done so dirty, like in phase 2. No, phase 1,
phase
2.
Phase 2 flashback.
Phase 2
is a prequel.
He's like a villain.
Yeah.
Basically.
He's the villain.
He wasn't.
He's duped by
wasn't
by the
phase
mother.
2. Right. And so he is the son of Lena. No.
Keon Greylark.
Greylark, right? One of the two chancellors. They had a double chancellorship there. And he gets into all sorts of adventures. He's a scoundrel nepo baby, and I hope that's not a pejorative that's going to offend anyone. I just think it's a funny term. There are
multiple
maybe someone who's a nepo baby.
Republic. There's like the Santeca babies. There's
Graphs.
like the Raph baby. Yeah, there's lots of nepo babies. It's Robert Barron nepo babies. I mean, it's fantastic.
Let's be fair. Luke is a nepo baby.
I mean, yeah. If we're going to really start pointing fingers,
I mean, so is Leia.
Right.
Raise a nepo
just being protected from being like hunted down and murdered in a way, but that's I guess
no. But I think they just wanted to
protection, like just I don't know, honest protection. I feel like that's all right.
Absolutely.
They're like, your dad turned out not great guy.
But I was excited to see kind of a happy story with Axel. I think that was kind of the point of this, to just be like, you know what? There were good days for Axel Greylark too, even though he was kind of a mopey, drunk gambler. These were sort of the stories that pulled him together.
Agreed. I like Axel Greylark as a character. I think it's a good dynamic character. I mean, again, not someone you're rooting for, but like I found very charming in phase 2. And I remember because the end of it, he does have not a huge redemption, but as much as like, yes, I will go to prison and accept my fate. Like I've done bad and I deserve to be punished, which is like, hey, if we could get that from like anyone and any level of power in this country, that would be awesome.
Right.
Right. Accepting responsibility for their actions. Right. So that has me rooting for him. And I think it happened on air where I was just like, oh wait, there's only 2 books in this phase. Remember that? Like, because the phase 1 was a trilogy. And I was just like, oh no, that was the end. Because I thought that was like, I thought there would be another thing that explores his further redemption. You're like, no, like he goes and we don't know what happens to him.
And didn't he get that? Yeah, he got broken out of prison at the beginning of that second book. So he's men's due to do some time.
Yep.
But loved the planet design. I love the sort of collegiate backdrop, and it's like this fun galactic college town. And
with a Blossom Festival that everyone goes to. I was like, this is great.
Just really, really fun and exciting things. And then this is his first interaction with the mother, aka Lisa.
Laylee?
What's her name?
Laylee Romero?
No, the mother.
Oh, Alicia.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah.
Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right. And they that's a kind of altercation. That was fun. That was cool to see that first meeting. Yeah. Cosmos, I don't want to skip over Cosmos. He's like the dude bro college nemesis rival character.
Yeah. We're enemies, but we're friends.
Yeah.
Like frenemies.
Your friend group, but just not really your friend, and kind of I guess has the hots for his girlfriend, and like that you kind of feel that throughout with Axel too. And it's like it just felt like really fun, sort of angsty young tension, and then it felt like the speeder stuff just was awesome. It felt like American Graffiti at times. Like I don't know, like I thought this was just a great story all around.
Yeah, it also felt more like what a real love triangle would imply is because there also was some sexual tension going on between Axel and Cosmo.
Right, yeah, that too.
There's also a little bit like undertones there. I'm like,
real connection.
What's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen between these two?
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Well, like they don't really hate each other. Like they're kind of actually like each other. Yeah,
they do at the end. There are moments in this, and maybe it's because I just listened to a podcast about it, but I was just like, there were moments where I was just like, is this just going to be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off in space?
Yeah, kind of was.
Because they were because Axel very much reminds me of Ferris. Like he's very much a Ferris character in terms of faking sickness to get a day off.
This was he faked his getting the pox.
He pretends to be someone fancy. The Sausage King of Chicago would be whatever the Sausage King of Chicago is, the equivalent in Star Wars universe. Like Galaxy, I was really reading this trying too hard to make the connections, and they fall apart pretty quickly when you add a heist element on top of it. But there are
they
things
like
going
bluff
on.
their way into a fancy party, and then the hilarity ensues. I get that. That's there.
It's such a fun story.
Yeah.
The Queen's Bloom.
Yeah.
Great
Good one.
story.
Cordova. All right, and then we have A Closed Fist Has No Claws. Tessa Gratton.
This might be up in my 1 and 2 spot.
Ooh.
Like it's so good. Like just Evereni lore.
Yep.
Always works for me. Like they're like any other species in the galaxy. They're an expression of the Force, like in some way, and they just happen to be just like ultra violent and like masochistic and like tinged evil and dark side. And I just love the storytelling whenever it comes to ever any characters, and this story alone, just Tessa Gratton also is like incredible. Like just the writing, that was very, very good.
And the way the story is told, which is basically like narration to her unborn child, her anything child, right? Like not even
is that who she was
conceived at this point. She was talking to Marchion Ro. I mean, yeah, that was Madra Ro talking to her unborn progeny.
But I thought he was 2 generations below Marchion.
So it might be whoever Marchion's. Yeah. So it is. I think it's still her talking to who she envisions her offspring to be. So it's this weird thing where I feel like she is, without knowing it, talking to,
even if it's not Marchion. Asgar is a pretty fabled character too, right?
Yeah, because Asgar is. Yeah, you're right. It's Asgar, but I feel like she's talking to Marchion without knowing she's talking to Marchion. She's talking to whoever's in her line after her.
And so do we want to set up Marta Ro for the listeners? Like, I feel like
probably.
Yeah. I mean, Marta Ro is basically she was part of the Path of the Open Hand underneath the mother character Alicia, and Alicia was destroyed by the Levelers, these creatures that they've captured to basically fight the Jedi. These creatures are like these all powerful sort of like life forms that eat the Force. And now Marta Ro has taken control of the Path, and she's on this giant ship that actually is acquired by her grandson in the previous phases. And I feel like she's just one of the most interesting characters we've had thus far in the High Republic. Being like, she's a cool species called an Evereni from Everon. Their planet was just plagued with storms, and like all they see is like storm imagery, and their life is a struggle, and they've been sort of like fighting to survive tooth and nail, I think she says at one point in this book. And they're just a really cool new sort of culture that's entered the canon. And I don't know, I just thought Marta Ro is just a really interesting character. So just setting up that character, she's now just sort of like the big bad. I don't know, whatever point in the story she exists, she's basically the big bad, because it's the Ro family dynasty that is sort of the bad guys of the High Republic.
I've got the lineage here. So she gives birth to Shala Ro, Shalla Ro, and who gives birth to Asgar, who gives birth to Marchion.
So it's like, her Marchion's great grandmother.
Great grandmother is what's going on there. So that's the thing.
It's so cool, like process stuff too, where it's like you have Illyria and Rox, like her crew on the Gaze Electric, like taking care of her. You know, Rox is like the cook, and then like Illyria is like the navigator. It's cool. It's a really fun process book. And then what's cool is she meets like other Evereni, and I just love that one of the first ones she meets is just called Old Uncle.
Old Uncle.
And it's so cool, like, because she meets other Everenis later, and she's like, she reflects upon the words of Old Uncle, and it's just sort of this. It feels like this unattached, broad sense of uncle or a familial person, but that's just his name. And I don't know, I just really like that sort of cultural speech and their language and how it's designed. And
they brought in like linguistics of like the whole, like you got into the Evereni linguistics, and they're like naming culture, and every name means something, and she's learning about the Evereni, and we're learning about the Evereni. I thought that was really, I mean, that's just fantastic writing, I think. And that's my favorite stuff in Star Wars. Like, just pick a little point, pick your North Star. It's like the Evereni, and then just like dive at it and like just start building layers of humanity on
Expand
it. And I thought it just fleshed out that species great. And I really liked how subtle Tessa Gratton was on cueing us into the early thoughts of what the Nihil would be. She's like, I don't believe in anything. You know, they've got this. They're like, what is that thing behind you? And it's like, I'm in the eye, and it's like, it's a storm, or is it a, it's
Storms.
like the basis of all their, of the Nihil culture is like.
It's so funny because I saw a lot of correlations with the Jedi Order, and sort of like she walks into a room at some point, and there's just a bunch of just, it's a super diverse group of people from all over the galaxy who have just devoted themselves to this cause. And it just feels like a room full of younglings who have just joined the temple or something like that. It just feels like a sort of another organization that's very similar to the Jedi, but instead of being a Jedi Order and being, comprised of an institution that's orderly, it's like, this is chaos. These people have gathered in I don't know, sort of like this sort of chaotic state, and that's why they're together. And they're struggling in the Outer Rim. They're people, disenfranchised sort of people in the Outer Rim. That's what I always think Star Wars is trying to do, is show just like people in the Outer Rim are struggling. It's whenever people say they're going to the Outer Rim, people are like, oh, that sounds
dangerous.
That's rough. They even say that in these stories at one point. It's just like, that's just the connotation of the Outer Rim. It's just a grimy, bad place to go. And it's fascinating because like, you'd think there's paradisical worlds out there and sort of like flourishing economies, but there's the corporate sector and things like that are out there. But it's like, it's interesting that it's like, that's just what I feel like this early state of the Nile are, but they don't really title, like, I think she's even asked about it, and she kind of is like, nope, you don't get to see, like,
and it's and even the mechanics of how they like structure their hierarchy with like the storm runners or something. I forget what the name are now.
Right.
Tempest runners, like the high like lieutenants. Like she already has like one lieutenant, and they have her people. She's like, you need to take care of your people because I'm not taking care of them. And it's like, it's just right there. And I'm like, are they going to say it? Are they going to say it? And then they don't.
Like, we're the Nile.
Yeah.
Which is good, because I also feel like they are a generation or two away from even getting there, right? Like, we don't know, because we know like Agar or whatever was. Asgard was definitely, that's a little too much like Asgard, was definitely part of like, was like the Nihil, but we don't know if do we know if he inherited it from his father? Or
it sounds like Asgard was the first eye of the storm, eye of the Nihil.
Right.
So I think it's got another generation, and I don't know where Shala came from, but she has a whole wiki page, so maybe we haven't seen Eye of Darkness yet. And I mean, and the thing, one of the things I'm looking forward to in phase 3 of this is to sort of see what like Marchion Ro's real axe to grind is with. I mean, he's like, he hates the Jedi, and he also hates the structure of the Republic. And I want to know if this is something like his great grandmother passed down through the generations, and they're like, F the Jedi, like, they're misusing the Force or whatever. Like, I don't know. Obviously the leveler got passed down through generations, but I don't know. It's kind of, I'm curious. There's still a lot of mysteries to unpack here as far as like where they are at this point to where they will be in phase 3.
Yeah. Levelers.
Yeah. I've just, okay. I can't wait to have a conversation at the end of this about levelers. All right. The next one, another Butte, Shield of the Jedi by George Mann. This is just such a joy to read.
Yep. This is one of those stories. There's another one coming up later that I categorize as like, oh yeah, that's what it means to be a Jedi. Yeah. Right? Where it's just like, it's not Jedi on their back foot, like being attacked by the Nihil or reacting to the Nihil. It's Jedi doing Jedi stuff, which always, I love when we get some of that.
And saving everyone, what the Jedi are supposed to be. Creatures, sentient life, or intelligent
out
life,
there,
like,
helping a community solve a problem.
So, Adam, I want to speak to what you just said. So first of all, this is Salandra Show is the Jedi with the shield, is the easiest way to explain her, and her Padawan is Rupert, and this story is about her Jedi trials, which is fantastic. But I wrote this actually later on for, I think, on a different story, but I realized this about.
I'm guessing we're thinking. We're thinking the same one probably. We'll get there.
I realize this about myself and why I'm such a hardcore Star Wars fan and spend hours and hours reading Star Wars, cramming Star Wars books every week so we can talk about them. I think I'm a fan for the philosophy, and like I'm just here to know what a Jedi is. Like I just want to know what is a Jedi and what is the Force, and I hope I never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, never give me the answer, but keep giving me
that's
discussions on it,
ruminations on it. Fantastic character, a droid that's just speaking in aphorisms about the Force the entire time, and basically everything it says, like it's so there's so much double meaning, and it just contradicts. Like it really is at the center point of sort of like intellectual discourse. Like what is the Force? It's always going to be something that's constantly iterated on and commented on. I think Sewell nails it in his
that was the one.
Short story where he basically is like, everyone interprets it differently. Period.
All Jedi walk their own path. Yeah.
And if you read the early books, but it's like they do such a good job of showing the origins of each Jedi is like so different, and you feel like they just interpret it so differently. And I don't know. There's so much power to that stuff.
I mean, and I'm not saying anything that's like groundbreaking, but it's modern myth telling, right? Literally, it's modern myth telling because it is like this. We see it from Rupert's perspective, right? A Padawan going through the trials, but at the end of the day, their trial is to go help a village. Right, which means, solving a mystery, but it's moralistic storytelling, and I don't mean that in terms of like morals, in terms of right and wrong, though that's what morals are. But it's a story of morals, right? Like it's a moral tale of just like, which you would get in any number of religious texts.
Yeah.
Right? Is like what do we as readers take away from this? Mm-hmm. That maybe the thing that we think we understand, we don't understand, and we need to see and look at it and see what it does and try to solve that, and I love those stories. And again, to me, it's like, yes, this is what Jedis do, and this is why I want to live by the code of the Jedi.
I think like Rupert is like up there with Vernestra Rowe for like my favorite character in here, because she's so pure, and like just really fantastic. I love her thing, and I love it's just like she didn't make any dumb mistakes. She's just trusted in herself. She thought about her teachings. She, and like ultimately it was like going off to slay the dragon trial, but like it turned out it's a go off and sustain the ecosystem in a more efficient way trial, which really resonates with me.
Wait, so this dragon is called a Salamaka, and it eats
Salamaka.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, it hoards junk.
It hoards junk. It's basically your crab from Moana,
or sort of hoards the junk in it.
Yeah. But it also keeps the spiders the giant spider
the
creatures,
Gant spiders or whatever,
the Gant spiders or whatever at bay.
Yeah,
right?
Which is a problem I think in later stories because apparently the Salamaka died off, or this one moved, or something happened. But
yeah. But isn't that such a Jedi thing in terms of her trial is not, you have to go kill this giant monster. No, this is like you have to solve this problem.
I also thought it was like
ecological issue.
It also just felt fitting that characters draw a blaster and you use the shield to block blaster bolts. Yep. It's like, the shield has to be used to shield someone from something at some point.
Yes.
And I thought it was just genius when Georgia Man just decided, hey, you know what? It's not the Salamaka that she has to fight. It's these townspeople that have basically showed up at the cave entrance, and they're like gonna try to kill it themselves because they're angry. It's been raiding the town over and over again, and it's so much fun that she stops them. And then I think she like smashes it on the nose with the shield, and then
she does.
It sort of, and then she uses like Beast Mastery, tier 3, to tame it.
Critical role. Yeah, but it's but I love that too in terms of like I love the thought process philosophy of like, I don't like a lightsaber, I like a shield, and when Rupert kind of inherits it, she's like, it's totally a shield, but it also can be an offensive weapon. If used correctly, right? Like,
dude, how awesome is it to end your Jedi trials and get an exotic weapon from the chest?
Right?
Like, that is...
Yes. I've got the quote as far as who the previous owners are. Do you want it?
Oh, do it.
So she'd recited stories to Rupert of the shield's previous owners. Legendary Jedi such as Bran Ath Marath, who'd fought against the terrible Sith Lord Darth Kaldoth and Karak Hitak.
Isn't that from another novel of short stories, though? Like the other George Mann one? I wonder.
Darth Kaldoth isn't ringing any bells. Or Karak Hitak.
Yeah, Kaldoth. I haven't heard that one yet. It's great.
But it's great. But I'm like, that stuff gives me pins and needles. I'm like, what? Tell me more.
Yeah, it's new Sith Lord.
Yeah, give me a rendering of that person.
Yeah, did George Mann do those Myth and Legends books?
Yes,
or am I making that up?
Yes, the myth.
Okay.
So I wonder, and I'm attached to my headphones, so I'm not going to wheel back and look. I'm trying to let Wikipedia open it, but I'm wondering is if you look at one of those, if Darth Kaldar, that story is not told.
It sounds slightly familiar, but I know he's invented Sith and Jedi of ancient past already, and so I'm just like,
yeah.
I wonder how many Jedi and Sith the Lucasfilm.
So Darth Kaldoth is mentioned only in the story, which means he previously exists. There's actually a picture of him.
Come on. All right, Googling.
Yeah.
He's a Duros. He's a Duros male Sith.
Pause the podcast.
Yeah, so his appearances. Shield of the Jedi, which is what we're reading. Dooku Jedi Lost. He is first mentioned in flashback mention only. Gaze of Stone, Myth and Fables. Yeah. So he's in the Myth and Fables.
Good for you, George, man.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. Yeah.
Actually, he's very heroic. Yeah. I was hoping for some sort of, apparatus or some sort of mask or something, but no, he
just looks like a regular old Duros in a black robe.
Jacked for a Duros.
I mean, a jacked Duros.
Yeah. Cool.
Ripped, swole Duros.
Swole Duros. Darth Swoldoth.
Darth Swolderos. Oh my goodness.
Apparently he had some dealings and fightings with the Night Sisters on his quest to find powers of the dark side.
As one does. What did you is there anything about Darth Karen? I mean Karak Hitak? I don't know why I see Darth Karen when I see Karak Hitak, but
not like do we need
I don't know. Where did that come from?
That was the other name mentioned.
Was that in that
oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not weirdly not showing up in the Wikipedia.
Yeah, that one might have been a new lore bomb.
But not even showing up as anything I can click on, which is funny. Am I going to live edit for a third time in a row? No, I'm kidding. I'm not.
Pretty cool that this is kind of a Batu story.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty neat at Pika City, and made me think. I was like, Disney could easily just do like a World Between Worlds Threshold and like let you go to like the High Republic version of Batu if they wanted to. Like,
yeah. I actually, you know what? The World Between Worlds is like the best solution for how to like not make it so stuck in continuity.
You can blend, literally, you can do different planets that way too, in different timelines.
Yeah, right. Like, because Ben, you walk through that giant like archway, like that cave to go through. They just need to redo it so it looks like the World Between Worlds, and you're walking through the World Between Worlds, and you're like, you're in like fantasy Star Wars land.
Great. Yeah, maybe that's where it's headed.
Call us, Bob. If you still want to come on the show, we have
Bob Izzy.
We have lots of time.
Don't listen to the first 5 minutes or so.
I'm sure he's still listening because he's so enthralled.
Yeah, it's fine.
Research.
Yeah.
Fewer execs, more podcasters.
I'm sensing a trend here. That was started by you, Adam, as far as like what is a Jedi?
Oh,
like,
no, I really like
what
it.
is a Jedi, right?
Yeah.
So this is with the quote from sort of the end of this story. That was surely the lesson that everything deserved to be protected, that it was wrong to leap to conclusions, to assume a position until you had all the facts. That's a Jedi's role. That a Jedi's role was to enter any and all situations with an open mind and seek the truth before acting. So here's yet another, or like a scrap of information that lends to the answer of what is a Jedi.
But hey, that goes against what Bob Iger wants or thinks we need to be doing in storytelling. So hey, you know what? Maybe we should just.
I like
burn
Kathleen
this book,
Kennedy in that fight,
or put it on a banned list.
I like Kathleen in that fight.
Yeah,
I think she'll be like, "No, you're not ruining this IP."
Maybe it should be a banned book list because it's too political.
Maybe I pulled this out of context. Who knows? There's a lot of bad stuff on the internet. Let's just forget I said anything and ruined the podcast.
Sure, this is the guy who was like, is a real good dude.
I don't know anything about
he wasn't
Mr.
at
Iger.
all wishing for. He's a Bond villain at this point with the BS he pulled during the strikes. Anyway, I no longer like him.
The Lonely Traveler is Home by Daniel Jose Alder.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got like a gift of the Magi type story in this one. We got another one. We got another like not moral tale, but like another like kind of like, you know.
Well, they're all moral tales, right?
Yeah. Just like, you know, this was very touching. It was a touching story.
Yeah. This is an interesting story because I have thoughts about Zine, just the character.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Zine Morala, is that her name?
She's a Mickeyan.
I think she is the Force itself, basically.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you think about this character is essentially like an uber Force sensitive, like really, really powerful Force user. Basically, like, you know, like I would say like untrained yet very, very powerful Force user. And I guess she does not become a Jedi, right? Or does she join? She goes to the temple just for safeguarding.
She's just for safeguarding. They pull an Anakin on her.
She doesn't become a Jedi, but I feel like she represents a lot of what storytellers try to go after when they write Star Wars stories. Is that the will of the Force is really the driving force of the entire of the story itself. Like no matter what the characters are doing, they're sort of brought in and out of scenes that are really the will of the Force, like bringing people together and putting things in motion. And I feel like she is one of those characters where it's like the whole story tries to subvert this idea that like, or the whole story tries to make you think that it's Ram Jameron who's trying to cheer her up, but she's sort of like decided he needs cheering up. But like, to me, it's so much happenstance and so much stuff happens in between then and the end of the story where it ends up that feels like a Star Wars story. It feels like everything trying to come together doesn't come together, but then something sort of comes out of the blue to basically, you know, save the day. And that's to me, and it's all Zine. And I'm like, to me, it feels like a wonderful metaphor for the Force itself with her character. And sort of, that's just my thoughts about this story. I thought it was just really beautiful. And Dana was just one of the best.
Yeah.
I
adore all these authors. But wow, that was great.
Going nuts on X and right now. Just talking a lot of stuff.
All right.
That's good. Hopefully shutting down the owner of X and being one of the many trying to oust this guy or figure out something.
Oh, really?
Like,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. He's doing some political speech on there, which is good to see. But I was gonna say that I agree. Like I really want to see where I hope we get more of her story.
We're gonna
in 3. I think she is a key character.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I mean, one thing I want to mention too is she's introduced in the Daniel Jose Alder written was it Tales of the
Adventures, I think?
Star Wars Adventures, High Republic Adventures, High Republic Adventures, which is a really great comic run. It's one of those that was back when it was IDW, now it's Dark Horse, same thing, but like it was the kind of the younger reader one, but really only in name only and focus on the age of the character. I've kind of realized also that's the difference between all of these stories is that like young adults feature young adults, adult novels feature adult characters, but really they're all just Star Wars stories. But she was on that planet, which I'm like blanking on. But that planet which I don't think I put on together now, so I was just clicking around where she grew up. But she was living with a religious group called the Elders of the Path.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So she was living with descendants of the Path of the Open Hand before we knew what those were, because they weren't named what that was, because that wasn't named until. So isn't that fascinating? Like all the way back, like at the very beginning of Phase 1. They'd called their shot a little bit with the idea of the Path of the Open Hand, and that some of the descendants who didn't become Nihil did become at least distrustful of Force users. Yeah.
And this is just before the fall of Starlight Beacon. This story, right?
Yes,
because they're in Starlight Beacon.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I loved that. I think they call the room that they're in the mid-tower exquisite view room.
Yes, yeah.
I just love that. Ram Jameran.
Because
Ram Jameran is a great hang, by the way. It just sounds like an awesome friend and like a good dude all around.
I'd hang out in his workshop.
Yeah,
I would just be like, let's just chill in here. Couple cold ones, build some droids. Let's go.
I like that you like him. As I used when I was watching as we just watched Barbie, and there was a joke about where's Dad? He's doing Duolingo lessons, and I'm like, I feel attacked. Carly is like, this is what I wanted you to watch the movie for, because I laughed for 5 minutes straight.
The dad is like 2 scenes. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's a bit. It's so good.
It's so good. The dad is the way they use the dad is so good. But I was gonna joke that I feel every time I read about Ram, especially in the story, I feel attacked, because I'm like, every time he's talking about like in his head about like, say this, don't say this. What do you think about this? Do you think this person's doing this? I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like seeing myself reflected in the page. It's like a feedback loop.
You're like, oh, my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super cute.
Is this the story where they go and see the older kids who are the most wizard Jedi in all the galaxy?
Belzettifar.
Older kids equal,
Vernestra Rowe, Imri Kantaros, and maybe Buri. I forget who the fourth was there.
I think he's not there.
Reese Silas. Yeah, and listen, those guys,
Silas,
they're all studs. Like guys and girls,
they're legends.
They're fantastic.
And there's that like I can't remember how I butchered it, but because Vernestra is there, who's not a Padawan, right? Because she's a full Jedi at that point, and so I can't remember how he was gonna go and say, "Hi, Padawans." And he's like, I can't remember what we called them all.
Vernestrons
together. Vernestrons.
Yeah, because Vernestra was like, number one.
I'm a big Vernestra fan. I think that character is so rad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big Torben Buck fan, by the way. Like, I just wanted to
Buckets of Blood.
Buckets of Blood.
Yeah.
But great. You listened to the audio book.
I did.
It was hilarious because they did he gets a call over the loudspeaker to Buckets of Blood.
Oh yeah.
But they do the loudspeaker.
Buckets of Blood here or whatever.
Blood.
Or no,
they do it
like an assembly.
They call him or something. It's just very funny because they do the actual like loudspeaker sound, and you hear like over the muffled loudspeaker, Buckets of Blood to the what? Please, Buckets of Blood. I guess it's pretty.
That's a good bit.
It's pretty great.
That's a good bit. Yeah, I have a very distinct idea in my head about what Buckets of Blood sounds like. He's just very camp counselor-y to me. I think because I read somewhere that's was the character that Daniel Jose Alder pulled him from.
I thought he was. Totally. I thought he was modeled after an EMT worker, or
I think he was both things, and hence
had blood bags on the ready.
Yeah,
I kind of figured he was like, what was it, chef from or Barf from You Can't Do That in Television?
Oh wow! All right, that's all right. Okay.
Whoever's that actor who did both roles, that's the voice I hear whenever I hear him talk.
I just hear Buckets of Blood.
Yeah, it's very metal.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, right on. So, okay. So I guess Shield of the Jedi then, sorry, I'm hanging us up on timeline stuff, but I guess it's because I thought these were all in order, and I guess they still can be, because this is sort of, Lonely Traveler is sort of mid phase 1. And Shield of the Jedi, though, I think would have to happen late phase 1, because I think we lose sort of track of these two for a while when they go to Batuu, and I don't think there's anything written about them. So I think they're probably around the same time.
Shield of the Jedi, if we're going off of Wikipedia, is saying it's 379 BBY, and these next. Oh,
so that's phase 2.
That is like, it's between phase 2. It's budding up again. It's between phase 2 and phase.
Yeah, because Grouper
or phase 1 and 2. 1 and 2,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this one, basically the next all of them are right between 231, 229 BBY. Like they're all like right before the fall of Starlight Beacon, or right after, or during.
All right, so here we go. After the fall by Claudia Gray. This one I feel like tore my lungs out. Oh no! These follow Affie Hollow, Leox, aka what's
Gia?
Yeah, what's his name? Space, and our man Gia. Wait, what is that? Who's the actor that Leox?
Matthew McConaughey.
So McConaughey in space.
McConaughey in space.
And actually, after hearing an interview with McConaughey on Smartless, I realized that McConaughey, the person, is the same as McConaughey, the actor. He's the same. It's the same guy. He's just like, it's crazy, man.
It can just be dialed up.
Yeah, we're all one, man. And now he's doing like a beat poetry album, like a la like Bob Dylan. Like, what a wild.
Yeah, he's a super hippie fiscal conservative.
All right. And
He'll run for Republican office at some point in the next 10 years. I can guarantee
it. They were talking about that.
But he's a normal Republican, not a
he's
crazy
running
one.
a very good charity right now to cut through the red tape.
He's a good guy.
Getting the funds that are allocated for education to actually get to the schools that need it most. So doing a good thing.
Yeah. No, he seems like a generally
but it's like
dude.
he's like such a man. It's like crazy, and we think we're all just bits of light in the cosmos, and So I just kind of
very much.
I don't know what the relationship between Claudia Gray is with Matthew McConaughey, but I hope they meet, and I hope it's recorded, and I hope she has like a fangirl crush on him.
Geode, come on up here.
But I mean the star of the show is Geode, as always.
Yes, so much Geode. Can you?
It's
awesome.
It's just great.
I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but
no, go.
I just want to say, and then I'll shut up. Is there some sort of literary award that can be given for the best writing ever, for just like her Geode jokes?
Unproduced.
Her
writing?
Geode jokes they slay. They slay me. They just beat like a drum.
Well, they're like. Because I don't know how to say it. It's because so many people have taken cracks at writing Geode, and it is always funny when you see Geode talked about or written about. But the thing that Claudia Gray does is acknowledge that we're all in on the joke. That's the first step of her writing a Geode joke. Is we all know what this is. And the joke is not about that. The joke is about that we all know who this is. It's I can't explain it. It's 2 levels removed from the
even
joke,
the characters
which makes it even funnier.
That is not going to really be interesting.
Yes.
Oh, it's high comedy, but she always writes him so straight and so earnest. There was a million, right? But there was one that was Geode repressed a shudder.
Please, yeah.
Geode repressed a shudder.
Yes.
And I almost swallowed my tongue. I laughed so hard. Amazing.
No.
But a very serious story about non-Jedi. These are they're helping out on Irem after the fall, volunteering, dealing with a bunch of bad attitudes on the ground, finally getting back out to space and doing their thing again and knowing their whole world's changed. And it's totally compelling.
Yeah, and it's a story. This is, I think, the story I realized, oh boy, am I glad I read this first before going into phase 3, because I have to be honest, I completely forgot about this group of characters.
There's a lot.
Not if I encounter them again, and it's nothing against them at all, because once I was reading this, I'm like, oh, that's great. This is such a great non-Jedi, because it's so focused on Jedi in the High Republic. It makes sense, but I forgot about this kind of gang of non-Force users is kind of wonderful.
Yeah,
and there's
the pirate stuff is so cool. The Affy Hollow Dubas Marti, that character, very cool. I really like that relationship, those 2 characters. I love this story. I like that this is a setup, just like you're saying, Adam. This is a setup for, you see this crew, Affy and Leox and crew, sort of arrive at, or I guess they're at Starlight Beacon, just in orbit, seeing it crash to Iram. Then they go down to Iram. It really sets up the scene of what happened at the crash, which is in some of the new comics, Fall of Starlight, or some of the new comics that have coming out. They sort of cover that stuff, but it's cool to see the actual wreckage or read about the wreckage and understand, get more of a lay of the land of what happened. And this is kind of a great starter for that. And Claudia does a great job setting up that traversal and stuff.
The other thing she set up was the no-fly zone that the Nihil set up, the Nihil storm wall across the galaxy.
The occlusion zone? Yeah, I think it's called the occlusion zone.
It's also called the storm wall here, which I thought is apropos, because the storm everything. But so I don't really, I'd love to get into the science of this, because I don't really understand it. But I don't really understand. Are you guys still there? Because you're both frozen. It's just me. Hey, everybody. And so I just, it's an interesting thing. How do you block off an entire side of space? Meow, 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 meow. We're going to just go to a commercial break right now. See you soon. Okay, and we're back. Sorry, slight little connection issue there. And Grant is tiny on our screen, but and Adam is tiny. You're tiny little people on a tiny little screen. I bet you'll pop back soon. Yep, there goes Adam. Yeah, sorry about that. We just had a little glitch, and suddenly you were both frozen at the same time, and you're both frozen again. And okay, we're gonna do this again. All right, Grant, you're back?
Am I back?
Okay, I'm back. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's
Can you hear me?
Jawa samples over and over again.
Weird. Okay, we got back. Yeah, I'll have to edit that on the pod. Sorry about the live stream. Yeah,
okay.
Cool. Yeah, we're good. Anyways, yeah, so I just find it hard to believe that the Nihil were able to cordon off an entire part of the galaxy with some sort of impenetrable wall. What's that?
I don't know. I think it has something to do with the no space, right?
Okay, sure.
That's no, but I thought I remember something about like them doing something with no space. I think with the paths. I don't know.
I wonder if it was something to do with the path engines as well, like something. I think there's answers for this already that are out there. I'm just not recollecting, and I think the next book is definitely going to have a lot on that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes next. I do love how they're sort of slow playing and setting up Phase 3. It was such a great teaser for me. I'm like so excited for what comes next. Shall we go to The Force Provides?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
This is Justina Ireland did this one, and if memory serves, this is Vernestra Rowe.
Yep.
Eventually.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
She's on sort of like a. Oh no. Yes. No. This is Vernestra Rowe. Right. She's on just like going on a little vision quest by herself to like chill for a minute, and then gets accosted in the transport, and then gets brought along by this old Togruta lady on a crazy mission. You guys are both looking.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because I remember she fights off some assassins.
Yeah.
Goes on a crazy mission with Tanabe.
Yes, they're going to the planet Ibi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tanabe Yar is the Togrutas.
Yeah.
The elder Togruta.
Mm-hmm. And then she fights a lot of people at the end there. Or does she fight them all? I think she cuts off someone's hand at one point, and then.
Yeah, she has to sort of unravel the mystery, but it's sort of funny because Tanabe Yar is sort of a like different version of Princess Leia, like who gave up her claim to the throne and started fighting corporate greed instead.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, because she wants to sell the fishes, like the fish that they harvest, to an off-world, planet that instead of having to give it to the warlords or something, I don't know, or something.
Yeah, it was a commercial. It was a group that came in and had a monopoly on their planet for selling their fish, and they were like, they had a monopoly on distribution.
The guild. Sorry, it was
the
the guild.
Yeah.
Right.
And so she was trying to break up the monopoly, just like Bernie Sanders would do.
And this was on Miakos. Is that the planet name?
Ibi, I think.
Ibi? Okay. Because I remember reading something about...
Oh, no. Ibi is where she goes to chill.
Yeah,
afterwards.
I think Miakos is where at the end.
Miakos, you're right.
And then it was started as a Senteca settlement, which was very cool. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like the Senteca family had been sort of like charting the galactic maps and sort of, discovering new worlds and sort of claiming them and colonizing them and stuff. Like that is so interesting to me. I would love to see more like voyages of the Senteca family, like like a novel or something that sort of explores that, because it's I don't know, it's like a Lewis and Clark. It's so cool. Like I just love that idea.
Yeah, they're a super interesting part of Star Wars that we don't know a lot about. I mean, we just know basically what they mentioned in this, but totally more can be done with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I
guild.
don't remember. I have to be honest. I don't remember this one.
This
I
one
know
was
I read
good.
it.
It was
And
just
I'm
like a lot of internal Vernestra stuff that I was like, this is just deep and fun and cool to see her ignite her lightsaber more than once in a story.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Tanabe was a cool character. I just remember them trying to, her trying to help them and thinking that the Force had led her there to help them and all this kind of destiny stuff.
Yeah, Justina did a great job sort of like making you unravel the mystery. It's like you didn't know who to trust. It was like, do you trust Tanabe Yar? Do you trust these, who they're trying to kill her, but like, is it with good reason or what? And then there's like a deep double cross that happens in the middle there with her son. And it's, and you get all these stories. And, again, this brings me back to like, what is a Jedi? And Vernestra is just very much following the will of the Force, like very Qui-Gon Jinn-esque. Doing that sort of thing. And she's trying to find her own path. And she's like, what I need is to rest and to recoup right now. And she actually heads off to Ibi, which was just like, given to her by Tanabe Yar and saying hey, here's a place, just like go chill. But maybe that's where we'll pick up with Vernestra in Phase 3.
Yeah. And is Vernestra, did she go the way of the Path of the Wayfinder? Or is that? I
don't think so. I think Salandra showed. Maybe Vernestra did. That would be so badass.
Because I thought, someone
did.
That.
And I don't think it was Vernestra.
Orla Jareni was a famous Pathfinder Jedi.
Right. But he tragically did pass away.
Salandra Show was a Pathfinder, maybe? No.
Yes, it was. No, I think that was it. Salandra Show was a Pathfinder. She declared herself not a Pathfinder, a Wayseeker. Sorry, right?
Wayseeker.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, you're right.
Right, and so she went to Jedha to sort of meditate, but then obviously after Jedha went to Batuu and met up because she missed her Padawan and continued her trading and ended that there. But I think it was Salandra Show was the other Wayseeker that we had.
Well, we'll know when we get that character encyclopedia soon.
Yeah. I don't really know what's up with Vernestra, but the High Republic character encyclopedia drops on December 5th.
Let me read this. So this is from the book. This one. This is Vernestra talking about Vernestra. But in the meantime, she was tired and grieving. It took too much to hold herself together and to keep fighting. And in the end, her heart wasn't in it. So she decided enough was enough. She would follow the will of the Force, not the Order. She would follow the path of a Wayseeker, letting the Force dictate her moves, even if the Order had not given her its blessing. So she did go.
Oh wow!
At this point,
she chose the
path of the Wayseeker. I mean, she might come back, right? To the. But that's I think that's where we've left her. Is this kind of her just on her Wayseeker journey? I don't know what they.
Yeah.
Rumspringer? I don't know.
Right.
Jedi Rumspringer? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I can't think of a more exciting Jedi to do that because she's kind of very equipped to do that sort of thing. All right, and then here we go. Charles Sewell, all Jedi walk their own path.
So, I mean,
our prodigal son returns.
Oh, Adam!
I've been saying it since the end of Phase 1. He's not dead. They didn't kill him off. It's fine.
Who are we talking about?
I already saw concept art for him like 2 weeks ago. By the way, on the main site on Star Wars.
Oh, really? Well, now you know why.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I predict big things for Buryaga Agaberry in Wave 3 or Phase 3. The other thing that I would say though, the thing I was surprised about because I was listening to this and I'm like, yeah, this is not going to end with him actually finding him because they're not going to like do this major thing in a short story in an anthology, and they did, which I love. This is why it's like all of these stories matter, right? Like this is key. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Feel so happy.
So this was like one of the major cliffhangers from oh gosh, I don't even know the name of the novel now. It's Edge of Darkness, Fall of Dark. I don't know. The fall of Starlight Beacon.
Fallen Star, maybe? I don't know.
Fallen Star? Oh my gosh. I should have all this stuff in front of me. It's just been like 6 months since we've even talked about this.
Yeah. It's rusty.
Yeah.
Even back then we were struggling with the naming.
But yeah, Burryaga Aga Burry was like stuck in a spacecraft trying to hold back Rathtars to like save whatever in the maelstrom, and just kind of vanished and like couldn't be found. And Bel Zettifar survived the fall of Starlight Beacon, and he's been sticking around Irem trying to find him for weeks, and then months, and then and everyone's gone, and it's just sort of him, and he's like hasn't found Burry, and he's like, I just need to find a body, like. I think it's actually kind of the perfect place for this, Adam, because it's like you can't dedicate a book to finding, this offshoot, story to find him.
And you don't want it just a few sentences. It deserved some
back.
Time.
Yeah.
So no, I appreciate that. I did not it feels so much more meaningful, right? To have him back in now after what both he and Bel went through.
Right. Yeah. And so you get Charles Soule gives us this deep meditation on like loss and like the, inner machinations of Bel Zettifar's mind, thinking about how he gave up on his master, thinking his master was dead when he was really alive, right, and he could have saved his life. And like, that's really, really heavy stuff. And then that all wraps around these really beautiful Jedi stories. Of like, and we get peak Loden Greatstorm, we get the two stories being told simultaneously, of like a mission that Bel was on with his former master, Loden Greatstorm, and now Bel sort of using that knowledge to sort of help him with this problem. And it was awesome.
It was great. It was nice to see. It kind of reminds me of the whole like, wish we had seen more of Anakin and Obi-Wan, master and apprentice on the big screen. Like, why are they great friends? So it was nice to get some time with Loden Greystar and Bel as like master and Padawan, where it didn't end in tragedy, because like isn't that the opening of the first book? Is Loden Greystar getting taken hostage or getting taken kidnapped?
Right. Yeah. And you feel like that's definitely caused a change in Bel, because he's just so driven to save. He won't lose another Jedi. Basically, he's no one left behind at this point, and he's there for Burryaga. And he's like, I've been studying the debris path of the wreckage. Like, he's been looking at all the data, like just to save his friend, because he's not going to lose another person after losing his master. And you definitely feel that the Loden Greatstorm parallel story, like the flashback, is amazing. And some of the lines from Loden Greatstorm are some of the coolest lines a Jedi can ever say ever, which is they're about to like fight a bunch of armed guys, and like Loden Greatstorm's like, they can't kill us, as they're about to learn. I was like, wow. A Jedi saying that is just, it feels like transgressive for a Jedi. It was great. And just the all Jedi walk their own path. The way they interpret the Force is different. Like that, the sort of stuff that Loden was saying was just like, I just really love Loden Greatstorm as a Jedi. He's very, very swagged out. Just an all around awesome new creation for this era.
Yeah, that was the quote that I pulled out of this. That was what sort of made me think like, oh, this is why I'm here. Like, this is why I do this podcast, is just to like pontificate about, what a Jedi is. But yeah, all Jedi walk their own path. Loden said, the way we help people, the way we interpret the Force and serve the goals of the light. When all is said and done, counsel or no, we must guide ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bang, that's it.
Yeah. You have to be self-sufficient as a Jedi. You have to keep down that good road and protecting everyone and knowing all of the factors of any situation before you act, like what we talked about before. I think this book just carries so many lessons within it that I think you could distill and sort of pull out and be like, you know what, this is actually a great sort of adage for what it means to be a Jedi. And I think like there's just so much in here. Loved these stories, but this one especially, and Loden, like, so cool. And then some new world building on ERAM, like the fishing boats and like the Maw, the giant whirlpool, like very cool stuff.
Yeah. But I guess, Grant, you're kind of getting at something that's, I think is important here, which is like, we had talked about like way back when this was announced, how excited we are to get like Jedi at their peak, right? Or at their prime at least. Yeah. And we got a little bit of that, but because of the way you have to do dramatic storytelling, you need stakes, you need loss, right? You need all these things. And so it felt like we got thrown into Jedi in peril and everything in peril very wonderful storytelling and a very compelling story in and of itself. But like this novel is really, or this collection of short stories, this anthology is giving us kind of what we wanted all the way in the back, which is like, well, just stories about Jedi being Jedi, right? And I'm not saying like I want exactly what they're doing. I don't do anything different what they're doing with the main plot in the High Republic, but like, can we get like another 2 of these anthologies? I'm like Jedi's, as to quote Ben, like Jedi's getting W's instead of L's. Like, you know what I mean? Like a few stories of that just to remind us, like, yeah, this is why people love the Jedi. Like they're actually really good and competent.
Yeah.
What
there's actually a really part. Is this still a Sewell story? There was actually a line in here. I didn't write it down, but it's something like, I think either Loden saying this to Bell or Bell saying this to someone, where he's like, you know, it's not the Jedi way to, like, you know, oh God, I guess fly across the galaxy and fight people with your laser swords. But laser swords are pretty great. And I was like, yeah. For me, I felt seen when that line happened, because I was just like, you know what? It's true. You can't just you can't just leave it flat in that, like, you don't use your lightsaber to solve things. Obviously, it's very important that you come at it with your head first and your heart and figure out solutions that don't involve violence. But
you wouldn't make your weapon. You wouldn't make your weapon
awesome. Like,
you wouldn't make them that color, those colors, and sound like that.
Cool. Like, I don't understand that. I never will. Honestly, if I was Bob Iger, I'd be like, why aren't there 900% more lightsabers in this movie?
Like, fine, that I can get behind, Bob. Yeah, but like, no, it's 100%. Like, that's the thing. Like, why would you make your why would you make your weapon that color, those colors, and sound like that if you didn't expect people to just swing them around all over the time?
Yes.
Like, yeah, and there we go. Right.
F4. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah. Like, who doesn't want to hear that? You see, I have my lightsaber, it's way up there, so it takes something. I can't just like pick it up, but I at least twice a week will walk by it and go, like, I have to look up and go, oh, I got a lightsaber, and just turn it on, swing it around for a couple of minutes, and then put it back. Like, come on.
No, I really, I just like that Sewell kind of knows the sort of, there's a lot of the narratives going on with Star Wars, a lot of the moral lessons, and he's just like, you know what? But lightsabers are cool, you know? Like, I don't know. I just really...
Yeah, don't deny it. They know it. We know it.
Absolutely.
Let's acknowledge it. Is your lightsaber all right over there?
I can't turn it off.
I don't have many other notes here. I mean, I'm trying to think.
So you want to jump to the next?
Finesbury Yaga. That's my last note.
Yeah.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah.
Gorge the Twi'lek.
I think Ben's got to go bury his lightsaber. He's gonna go put it. He's just gonna go put it in another room. This is the least technically okay episode we've ever had. You know, it's just hilarious. This is wonderful.
Some interference from Imperial comms.
It's just real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben's going to visit Hu Yang right now. Okay, he's back. Anyways, light in the darkness.
Yeah.
Just in time.
No, why are you tempting fate? Don't turn it on.
Oh God, it was a close one. I was like, this is permanent. Oh man, look how cool this thing looks though. Oh my gosh.
Sweet.
If you guys really should watch the video, because Ben is holding up a pretty sweet replica.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got a new episode 4 Obi-Wan lightsaber.
It's amazing.
And it's kind of
so
beautiful.
Good.
I really like how thin, like, the top.
Yep.
The thin neck, like, because the early ones they couldn't do that because they weren't really using real metal, and like, it's kind of gorgeous. It's like, right, freshly polished Obi-Wan episode 4, but it's lovely. Sorry.
How badly do you want to wear that on your belt every day?
I'm just gonna wear it to work on Monday morning. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Just wear it. Don't say anything.
Yeah, say
what this?
No, just it's Caribbean. Just walk around.
Yeah, get on the subway with it.
I know.
Flames around.
It's got the D ring on it, so it's like just like flopping.
I love it. Dude, that's awesome.
Oh man, they're just so beautiful. Okay. I digress.
All right. Should we move on to Light in the Darkness by Kevin Scott?
Yes.
Can I say one thing real quick about this?
Please.
This is how the Rey movie should open.
The which movie?
The Rey movie should open.
Armored Rancors?
No, but honestly,
sorry.
of just like you. This is the thing about this movie made me believe in Jedi again. Like in terms of like this is the storytelling of just like what do the Jedi mean? Especially if you think about like from less maybe about from this era, but even if you look at Rey's era in terms of just like the Jedi have been all but extinct for half a century at this point, right? In storytelling about. Sure. And so there's still all these stories telling of just, no, that's an old myth. They're not there. I don't care what stories have been told. And this just besieged by something and just literally walking in front of the sun is a smiling Jedi.
Yeah.
Which is Rey. Like it is the best introduction of a Jedi. And it felt so Jedi to me of just like coming out to rescue, right? Coming to the rescue.
Like that's how like the Rey movie should start.
Yeah, the Rey movie should start like that.
Yeah,
is the cold open is just like something besieged, someone telling stories of Jedi, everyone disbelieving, and then just Rey showing up,
right,
just being there.
And these cool creatures, they're very short and furry. They're like probably Chihuahuas. I don't know. And they're and they're like scurrying and they're running for their lives, and their planet has been taken over by the Hutts, and it's like you get to really understand what that means fully for the first time. And it's like all is dark, and like you just go down this, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're so desperate for food. They're starving. Their like crops have been burned. Everything's terrible. And then just like at the moment that before the night is darkest before the dawn, and then the Jedi actually answer the call and show up and save the day, and it's awesome.
And if you're doing this in the Rey movie, like it does it here beautifully. Like you get Keeve Trennis gets her hero moment.
Yeah.
And then the narrator starts noticing, is it, I don't know, I can't remember the pronunciation. Zarak,
the pale
Zarak and Tarek.
Wait,
I'm just like
Zarak,
didn't one of them die? I don't know. I thought
no, one of them almost died.
Okay.
Saw a nameless, got half petrified, but because of their psychic bond, was able to come back from it. Okay. But is like all cyberneticy.
I think this is the first time we're introduced to their cybernetics.
Yeah, I think they kind of hinted at it because you see them. I think it's in the comics. You see the one who survives is kind of like pretty in bad shape but alive, so it makes sense that they would rebuild him. Sure. But like in the movie, you could do this and introduce other Jedi in that way, right? That we're gonna get to know. Anyway, just my pitch.
Yeah, that's a really quick way to get another more Jedi in the movie in the story, just to have Rey already have Jedi operating with her. Something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it could be again. It could be sort of like a gang thing too. It could be the Hutts, and like a little bit of symmetry. Or
I mean, it was pretty epic. Like some of the action set piece stuff in this was just epic. I was like, whoa, like Rancors, like that is awesome.
Gamorrean guards riding Rancors.
Gamorreans riding like armored Rancors. I was like, this is crazy. I love this.
We saw some of that in the comics, which is great with Avar Kriss, and they when they're fighting back the Dringir Jedi on a Rancor. There was an alert sent around for everyone. But this is even better with Sarat and Tarek. So you get twins on Rancors, and they take over these Rancors, kick everyone's butt, and then they're like all the Rancors are riled up, and so they calm them down, and then they're like, and then their Rancors started snuggling.
And I'm the Jedi do. They bring peace.
Rancor snuggle. Like I just wanted to kind of see that. It's pretty great. So hopefully they keep the Rancors. That would be a good add to their characters. But Kevin Scott, he's a real G. This was a super fun one.
It's weird. I feel like I have the least to say about this one, and it might be my favorite in the entire anthology. It just gave me, when I was listening, it just gave me chills. It just gave me that, it gave me cinematic chills.
Even Keith Trennis comes in, you're just like, this is awesome.
Yeah. I got nothing else. It was just great. Read it.
Great adventure.
Great adventure.
I may have less to say about the next one, which I enjoyed, but
I love this one.
It's a great way to end.
Awesome,
it's a great
it makes
ending.
you want to live in Coruscant.
I love this as the last
The Call of Coruscant by Lydia Kay.
Yeah. Oh, and you got Amadeus Arazzo. Hey.
Amadeo.
Amadeo. He's
Every
a
time I
Jedi.
hear
Miro Vox.
Miro Vox. Amazing. But Amadeo. I had his last name. It's like Mazzazzo, or he's clearly an Italian Jedi.
It kind of feels like a hate crime reading his name, but yeah. No, sorry, I'm kidding.
You mean a racecraft? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure.
Joking. No, I do love the character. Yeah, and what was he? He's new, right? He's part
Both
of
these
phase
are new, I think.
3, right? Like, I think this is it. Like, this is kind of an introduction to some of the characters we're going to follow in phase 3. I felt like.
Yes, I think we got some Miro locks. That sounds familiar to me. Master Miro locks.
We did too. That's not the Tiger Jedi, is it?
No, he's a
human,
he's a black human, a dark skinned human.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking about something similar. Liban or something. Liban.
He was mentioned in. Wait, which one's Eye of Darkness? Is Eye of Darkness the new one?
Yes,
that's the new.
That's the new one. Yeah, so that must be all right.
So
carrying him forward.
Yeah, so no, so this is it. So these are kind of like here's some new characters you're going to meet in the next phase, which again does a good job of like every time I was hearing this listening to this going, I don't remember these characters, but they sound familiar, which is good, right? In terms of like you've clearly created full characters if in their introduction they feel familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, because like the sort of trinity they pushed with Elzar Mann and Stellan Gios and Avar Kriss is a little whitewashed, and then Miro was like, yeah, like we grew up together. These are my homies. Like we did all our things together, and he was one of those stars too, and just was just out. Like he seems like such an important Jedi that like he's just in the field all the time. And like his Padawan's 17 and he's like hasn't been back to Coruscant for years, like since he was like an initiate.
Yeah. That's the fascinating. What I liked about this character is like he has just been on mission after mission after mission in the unknown regions, or in the what they call them, I can't remember the basically the expanse region or whatever, but like just out there on the frontier.
Yeah.
For like the last decade. I don't know, like how long has he been a Padawan? But like that's it. And like his big fear is like not like I love the fear is just like I don't know if I know how to talk to people my own age.
Right. Yeah. Right. Tremendous fear. Like that. They settle this dispute on this planet where there was like again corporate greed, mining guild thing, and I thought that was kind of the story. They get called back to Coruscant. So this is the thing that I was most excited about at the end of phase 1. It was like, okay, because I'm like, can we fix this now? Can we start catching some dubs? Yes, get everyone together. Everyone who knows anything about a leveler, talk to each other and figure out what you're dealing with and then create a plan. And allegedly this happened, but they like stole it from me. Because Amadeo was out getting drunk and laid all night on Coruscant, and so we didn't get his POV, and they kind of skipped over Miro Vox's, Lox's, like what actually happened in that meeting. And I'm thinking we're gonna actually get more detailed stuff of what happens in that meeting in the next book.
I'm guessing,
because it's important. Because I just want to see them be like, "Come on, guys, you're smart. Let's put our heads
together,
it out, communicate." Figure it out. It's like, okay, communications are down and we couldn't, like, you can't play that card anymore. Like, get everyone together, create a plan, figure out what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Can I be frank?
Please.
Sure.
Or in the Immortal Worlds of Kevin Spacey, may I be frank? Sorry. The thing is, if I see one more scene of Jedi walking into a trap with the Endless and not having non-force user backup,
right,
I'm going to lose my mind. This is the easiest problem to solve in Star Wars history. Hire some frickin' bounty hunters to follow you around.
Yeah. Oh,
done.
How cool would that be?
Sorry.
How cool would that be? Yeah.
Right. Aren't there like senatorial guards still and things like that? Aren't there? Can't the Senate issue them some protection?
That's right. They were on the ground.
At this time, there's something that can actually devour the Force and devour our Force energy. Is it possible to get non-Force sensitives to provide security for the Jedi at this time? And then the Senate's like, sure, here's a bunch of these guys with, blue hoplite sort of helmets and spears. Yeah.
I don't mind the Endless. I think they're neat, or the Nameless. I think they're neat. I like the idea that they petrify in both sense of the word a Jedi. I think that's a cool conceit. but I am getting a little done with how dumb the Jedi
are. We doing this right now? Is this leveler?
Apparently.
Okay,
Apparently.
we're
we don't have
leveler
to,
corner.
Coruscant,
yeah,
great.
corner,
I loved it.
yeah.
Felt like it was just about like what Coruscant is like. How does it feel to live
Yeah.
there, to be there, to experience it? I thought she did. Lydia Kang did such a great job, sort of creating the atmosphere of Coruscant. Loved that short story. All right,
and I love that he goes through. But one thing too, just to add, I love that he goes through the temptation, but is still there at the end, right? Yes. Like, because there's that question of like, is that going to be too much for him? But he,
right?
Yeah, nightlife of Coruscant too alluring is what the master sort of worries about, right? Is that
yeah? But that's what again, what is a Jedi, right? And I love that Amadeo is like he's starting to be like, think about what his life would be like outside of the Jedi, right? Like, that's another 6,000 pound rancor at the dinner table. That's like, like you were stolen from your parents. Like you were orphaned and brought into this cult, essentially, if we're going to be cynics here. And, yes, you had a gift, and yes,
I'm more forgiving. I see it as a sort of empowering sort of, place of development and growth.
I agree. But let's just, for the cynic's sake and the dark corners of my own mind that would think that stuff, it's like you could kind of color it that way. If
I have some questions, but I mostly am positive. Yeah.
And so you do that to a person and you're like, okay, here's all the things in the world. You're a young man entering his prime and you have everything going for him and the Force and all these things, and you could make friends and you could have this normal life, and he dips his toes all the way in it, and goes for a swim. I loved this. I loved that he his interactions, and he was just like found this like beautiful female creature from, being from another planet, and they're all smart and fun and and are doing exciting things, and it's just exactly like someone would be wrapped up in. And he had his night, and he was just like, you know what though, this is all I've been, this is all I want to be. And he just doesn't sleep that night, goes back, and then goes on the next mission.
The weird thing I have mentioned on this, I feel like I got to mention this once a year on this podcast, is that as my argument is always that the Jedi may forbid attachment, but they do not take vows of chastity, as far as I know.
Right.
Just said, like if anyone's watching the third season of Slow Horses, there's a character practicing or living that life right now.
Oh, I just canceled Apple Plus, and I
really
want to see.
It just started.
I know it just started,
but wait. I'll let you know when it's over, and then you can just get a month and then binge it.
Yeah. So the quote is, "The Force is my anchor. It's my roots. It's my connection to everyone and everything." Yeah. He grinned. Coruscant has been amazing, but frankly, it's kind of exhausting. What else happened? Mero asked. He sensed that his Padawan was holding something baback. He got laid. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But it's
no, totally. 100%.
It's attachment. But you need to have interactions. You need to love.
Yeah.
You need to have friends, right? Our friends and it's such
it's so hard to say. Right.
Jedi don't believe in the work balance lifestyle. They're just like, you know what? Full work, full Jedi, protection services.
Yeah, but you look at others.
There's some meditation.
You look at other lessons though, and it's like, Loden Greatstorm is like, counsel or no, we must all find our own way. And it's like, if you get drunk and stay up all night and have a great night, that's going to happen because you have to live your life, and you have to find your own way.
Yeah, it becomes a problem when it starts affecting your work. Exactly. But the other thing I'll say though is just like, again, the other argument I always make is like, it is the no attachment idea from the Jedi is a non-starter, and it is flawed from the beginning, because your entire system of teaching is based on mentorship, and mentorship does not exist without attachment between a mentor and a mentee.
Yes.
Right. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
No sense at all.
Right.
And that's the thing they got to do away with in the future of Star Wars when we get to Rey's New Jedi Academy, is it's not about it. It's about honest communication about attachments. That's important.
That's definitely a big story point I'd like them to tackle with any kind of new Jedi temple. Because I'm just like, this kind of needs to be resolved. It's like, what are the Jedi? What is it? What is the new reformation of the Jedi? What is that? Like, I have lots of questions. I think it's just framing it differently. Like, it's just
it's an HR different words. Attachments. Yeah. It's an HR problem that can be solved within the temple. Like the thing is like it seriously is. It's just the thing is like Anakin falling in love with Padme was not what set him down the dark side. It was him feeling he could not talk to anyone about it, which made him vulnerable, which is what I talk about. Oh, hey, I'm going to bring up criminal justice. Like when people do background checks and they ask about gambling debts or they ask about sexual backgrounds or other things, the reason why organizations like the FBI are asking those things is not from a moral standpoint, but from a blackmail standpoint.
Right.
Are you open to blackmail? Because if you tell us these things now, they can't blackmail you because we already know it. Right. And so that's similar. It's like if Anakin was open to this, everything that Palps was saying wouldn't have mattered because he would have been like, no, I've been talking to Yoda and Obi-Wan about this. It's fine. We got it.
Yeah. We've got to figure it out. We got a plan.
Yeah. We know how to protect Padme.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're like, we're not saying no attention anymore. We're just saying not to be possessive and toxic with your relationships. It's just a new sort of framing, really. It's that's all it is.
Okay, leveler talk. Sorry, Grant.
Back to leveler talk. Yeah, let's solve some more things.
Oh, man. All right, so where are we on the levelers right now?
There's not many left.
Love the level. I mean, it's not just the levelers, though. It's also the rows that control them, and Marcion in this case, controlling levelers. It's like... and I think there's new characters experimenting on levelers in this new phase, which is exciting. I think there's just lots more leveler detail and lore to be read in these new books. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm ready for them to change my mind on them, but at the same time, I'm kind of there with you guys where it's just like, can we figure out these things and then sort of dig into fighting Marcion Rowe and the Nile and sort of like. Yeah. The Jedi just feel like totally incompetent when it comes to this threat. And I don't want to see incompetent Jedi. I feel like I saw that already.
Yeah, plenty of times. Saw it plenty.
No, you can see competent Jedi that are super challenged by a worthy foe, an adversary, that takes a while to... It's like Sherlock and Moriarty, right? Like, when that was happening, you weren't thinking, like, Sherlock's a dumbass, right? You're just thinking, oh, he is challenged by someone who is very clever. So it's taking longer. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's like the Hound of Baskerville, but you can't solve the case. It's sad,
right? Right. It's like the Hound of Baskerville if he went to 7 different estates and the same damn thing kept happening, and he couldn't figure it out, and then just gave up and went home and smoked some opium.
That's basically what's happening in the High Republic.
Sorry. But the thing is, like, all joking aside, I do like the levelers. I think they're really interesting. I like it. Just give us something new with them. Like, you got to push the story past it, which I trust that they're going to.
Yeah. I hope that's the case. I mean, there's a lot to be answered there too. Like, I mean, what is the nature of the levelers? Like the path of the open hand was gaslighting everyone into thinking that like these are the, by calling them levelers, they're the ones to eliminate all the Jedi from the universe and like, to kill all the Force wielders. But it's like, what are they really? Like, what are they really there to do? Is that their purpose?
I hope they're a narrative device of some kind to set up something larger, maybe like a dark side character who like the leveler, approaches them and everyone's like, oh, it's going to kill this person because they're a Force wielder. But then they're like, no, they don't, like, they can't eat the dark side. And I'm like full dark side and like something really fascinating I'm hoping for. But like, because I'm hoping the Sith is kind of a final chapter in the final phase of this, like a sort of reveal of like, and then this is a Sith Lord in hiding, basically.
Yes.
It's almost like all I'm hoping for is one chapter. Like, I don't even need I don't need breadcrumb chapters of I don't need 3 or 4. It's almost like it could be the final chapter.
Just do the epilogue of the entire series of just all according to my plan.
Boom. And I'm like, I needed that as like connective tissue. But yeah, I'm hoping for something like that. But I'm hoping the leveler is involved with that sort of deployment if they do that. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the leveler.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's it, and I hope we're going to get there. So next week we're going to cover The Eye of Darkness by George Mann. So George Mann gave us that great Shield of the Jedi, and so he's got the first novel. I think there will be 3 adult novels. In this. There are. And so we're going to cover that next week. And to continue our coverage here. And so we'll start that'll be a massive push into phase 3. And then we're going to cover comics up to wherever we are at that point in High Republic to see sort of what's going on. And that's kind of our plan for December, and we'll sort of pick up other pieces there. We might do an episode of just the character coffee table book that's coming out on December 5th. The High Republic.
The character encyclopedia.
Character encyclopedia. You know, I'm sure we'll be looking at that and referring to it more as we get into it. I'm pretty excited about that, to finally see all these characters.
Me too. Yeah.
They said there's 250 characters in there. So that's a lot.
That's going to be useful for when we're doing these pods and we're like, you know, what happened on Irem or what happened on Dalma? You know, we'll be able to go Vala, like we'll be able to go back and look at who was there, what happened.
And, you know, if you haven't read High Republic and, you know, you're sort of listening to this and you're like, oh, this is all cool. You know, it's like we're just glazing over some like major topics here. But like now you can have this character encyclopedia and sort of look at that and see all the characters and what they look like and who they are and their relationships. And, you know, that's going to be invaluable to you. Yeah. Whoever this force delivered that person to make that first infographic, like kind of saved our lives in phase 1.
It was so helpful.
And more of those will proliferate around the internet too. And that'll be helpful. Super helpful. So, that's what we got going on for next week. What did I miss, guys? Anything else you wanted to talk about with this book or life or the galaxy far, far away? Bob Izzy, anything?
I think it's perfect. I think you summed it up perfectly. I think that's where we're High Republic. All, you know, is our next few recordings is going to be all about High Republic stuff. So that's the main point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. For light and life, let's raise our glasses and cheers, and we'll meet you next week at the Cantina for another edition of
Cantina Chronicles.